I'll just let some more people in as they come. So today's theme is a lovely, lovely theme, and it's probably, hang on, it's probably a theme that for some reason resonates with me so much. And I did a 3-day challenge. Don't know if any of you guys were there. 3-day challenge a while ago on Facebook called Discover Your Unique Spiritual Purpose. And it was just such a joy to do. And that was actually the first time I'd run a challenge on Facebook or done anything like that. Created webinars and I swear it just like came through. It was like it was just waiting for me to go, yeah, go on, I'll do this. And it just all came through with so much ease, and I loved it. So it's obviously like, I don't know, something about it. Have I told you what it is? Probably not. It's called Finding Your Focus and Following Your North Star. So that's the theme for today. And I hear it all the time. And I think because it irritated the life out of me when I was like having the kind of spiritual experiences and knew that I wanted to heal in some capacity. But like probably some of you will experience trying to find that thing, that North Star, trying to find it when you're in this awakening stage, in this exploration stage, feels annoying. Does anybody resonate with that?
Yeah.
It can just, or it's like, why isn't it easy? Why isn't it easy? Why do we not know what it is? Why is it so difficult? And I was thinking about it after yesterday's live, maybe we were talking about it on there. And I got in the car and I thought, why is it like we don't just know what it is? Why is it the hardest thing in the world to really find? And I thought about it and I thought, well, never in a million years did I think I would be doing this job. Never in a million years did I think I would be creating courses or in some kind of teaching capacity. Never in a million years did I ever even imagine that for me. And if somebody had told me that 10 or 15 years ago, then I would have ruined it. I would have sabotaged it. I would have said, no, thank you. And I wouldn't have accepted it. And I would have done anything to avoid it because at that time, I wouldn't have resonated with it. So when you have the itch and you're scratching it, the alleviation, the soothing balm, it doesn't come instantly because you have to learn a lot of shit before ultimately you can step into that role, as annoying as it is. So today's theme is really close to my heart, and I'd love to take questions. There's 3 of us on the panel today, so you really are going to have some good depth from us. So who would like to start by asking a question today? Just unmute yourselves. Don't wait to be invited. Just go for it.
See you later. Bye. Bye.
Judy, do you have a question?
Who, me? Well, a question. I'm just really sort of lost, really, with all this. Shall I just quickly tell? I don't know. Have I got 2 minutes?
Yeah, you got 2 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying the way you deliver yourself and your course and everything. But I'm really struggling because I'm not an online learner. I'm quite visual. And I wish I was in a room practicing meditation. I'm a fitness instructor and I can manage, I can lead, I'm ultra confident. I've done fitness in the 80s, aerobics queen, and latter years, 15 years now, I've been a Pilates instructor, along with weight management, nutrition. I help people, I'm a giver. I'm a qualified in belief coding, with belief coding, a facilitator, which I absolutely love. But I'm just at this crossways. I'm 57 nearly. I've got 3 grandkids. I've been a single mum. But I'm just like, I'm doing a bit of this, doing a bit of that. And sometimes I just like, I don't have that spiritual awakening. I don't feel energy. I can read a room with atmosphere. I can read you as if you was, you know, I don't know. I don't know really. So I'm just like on your course really to complement my Pilates, because I love my Pilates.
Yeah.
I'd love to do healing circles. But I've sort of took off, I was a bit of, after belief coaching, I joined every bloody course, every meeting, and I've stripped right back, and I'm just literally with you doing my meditation. Yeah, and I'm just sort of like, I don't know, there's just one little bit more piece of my puzzle. I'm really content, I'm really happy, but I love giving. But there's just, I'm online, I do free 15 minutes a day, and I'm a real helper to everyone, help people get from the sofa, find themselves. They don't like what they see in the mirror. But there's just that one little thing for me, like in the business side, I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah, I hear you, and I don't want to jump in too quickly. Emma, do you do belief coding?
Yeah, I do belief coding as well.
hi Emma.
Hi.
So I'm going to let the panel go for it, and then I'll chip in as well. So we've got Amanda and Emma on the panel today.
Hey, so the first thing that came up for me, and I don't really know where this came from, but the word labeling instantly came up for me. So you're like maybe searching for that label for yourself, and that because you feel like this is just what's coming down from me, this may make no sense to you whatsoever, but because you haven't got that label, that you don't feel quite content, or that's what you're searching for, you feel like you need to sit under some kind of branch or umbrella. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? Someone said something the other day. They was frightened of success, and in my little world, I'm really successful. But I was that single mum who always had to earn the cash to know she could pay the bills. And sometimes I don't think I take the bigger opportunity. I think I'm play safe, but you know, but I've got a bit of everything, and I've got so much to give, and I've got loads of clients, and I've got a business. But I just feel there's something that I want, that just that, I don't know, I don't know what I want, that little piece. I think there's something missing. I don't know.
If you had that little piece, if you had it, what would it give you that you haven't got now?
I suppose it would give me that I'd be really fulfilled with, I've succeeded. I don't know. Like I'm very sort of I flip from one to another. I'm quite sort of hyper. My head's always busy, and I'm struggling with meditation because I find it hard to switch off. And when people say I saw the green light, and my client felt this, and I watch your comments on your group, and I'm like, what light? I'm not feeling that, but I can do a Pilates class and get the whole class zen, and I can zen out and I can lead. But yeah, I suppose I feel I always get told I'm really spiritual. I love it all, but yeah, I don't really know, Anne-Marie. That was a really good question, because you know, I've bought and paid for my home. I've been that single mum. I've had sort of a real jaded past, and I feel really proud of myself. But there's just something, and I'm on my own financially. Always have been, always will be. But I just feel there's something more, I don't know, I just think there's something out there for me. There's something else to make me go, wow, this is where I really belong. And I struggle belonging. But I know I read something, and I don't know if it was a quote from you guys or somewhere the other day, that you belong within you. That's you're good enough for you. But yeah, I don't really know. I'm just sort of here, sort of, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Amanda, got anything to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, hello, by the way. It's lovely to meet you, and lovely to talk to you. What I'm hearing is lots of roles that you have played and do play. So single mum, and absolutely rightly proud of yourself, for goodness sake. That's freaking hard. We know that. Probably most of us, if not all of us, know how that feels, and that's really, really hard. And it is a hustle, it is a fight, it does feel like it's really hard. But what I'm feeling is like you wear lots of hats. And you take one hat off and put a different hat on, and then put another hat on, and you're there for everyone else. But what I'm feeling is who are you? The question that is being asked to me very deeply is who are you?
Well, that's made me quite good.
Yeah, I can feel that from here. It's made me feel quite emotional too. I'm a really emotional person, and very, very sensitive to such things, and that just made me go woo. So it's the question I would ask you is who are you, and what lights you up? Because you've said you're looking for something, but you don't know what it is. So Anne-Marie's question in terms of what would it give you? How is it you want to feel? How is it you want to feel? And who are you? Because all of those things are about roles you've played and roles you are playing and what you're doing, but they're not about being, they're about doing. And there's a difference. There's a really big difference.
Wow. And you know what? You're so right. And I'm not an emotional person really, but that made me want to cry. And in November, my son's got extreme OCD, and it's awful with intrusive thoughts. So I saw a blog on Facebook, and just this girl was selling belief coding and told me that I could heal my son and how amazing that would be, and blah, blah, blah. So I was desperate. So I wanted to, so that's how I become a belief coder, but
right.
It hasn't worked. And the process of belief coding is amazing in a child and all that. And I love that. And oh my God, and I do my sessions, my own style with the music. I do a little bit of meditation. I'm not a meditation teacher, but I'm learning. And I love that. But I haven't cured my James because I'm his mum. I'm too close to work with him. So that's never going to work. And the one thing I did say was, who am I? And that was the words you just said. I said, who's Jude? I help everyone. I give to everyone. I've got all these hats. I actually love hats. I'm always in a different hat. My mate always used to say to me every day, Jude, I see you're a different character. Who am I? And I think that's what I'm so successful in my own little world. And for me, but sometimes like I give, and I've got kids and I've got grandkids and I've got dramas around me, and I don't know, and my other half's got a disability the last 4 years. He's had an accident, so life's really different there. And it's like, I don't know, who am I? And I reached out to belief coding, and like I say, the modality of it, the process, I find amazing. But it hasn't given, when people go on there, and I'm not knocking it, oh my God, it's changed my life. It's this, that. Me, I'm going around that circle still.
What I'm hearing from you now, and what I heard from you a moment ago, was that you feel like something's missing. And I think that's really fundamental, because there is nothing missing. There's nothing missing within you. But my feeling is that you need to go within, because you are complete as you are. You are perfect as you are. And you are looking outside of yourself for answers which are within you. And it's incredibly confronting, because it means the only way through it is through it. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's in the way because of a lot of experiences that you've had. But that beauty and that real magic is within you. It's not outside of you. You won't find it outside of you because it's inside.
Wow. And you know what? When I was trained, they said that about doing self-facilitations, and I resist it. And people go, oh yeah, I was doing rubbing the finger and human comes. And my trainer said, you're comfortable running from the past. That's my protection. I opened up a lot about it, but you're very much on your own. But I'm all right about the past, but then am I? But I feel I'm a runner, and I don't look back, and I'm not negative. I'm so positive, but sometimes I don't feel like you're saying, maybe, and I don't know how to go within, and I don't know how to be that spiritual person either.
You don't need to be that spiritual person. There is no needing to be a spiritual person. What spirituality is, and what it means to be a spiritual person, is to experience your own, to go through, and I'm sure Anne-Marie will agree, to go through your own shit, to face yourself, to find, that's how you find out who you are, is by facing yourself. And it feels like that you are running from something. It feels like there is stuff, and we've all had to face really, really difficult, confronting stuff not just from our past, but from our what's called our shadow. We've all had to look at our shadow self in order to get to a position where we're able to truly help other people. We have to have been through it ourselves. If you go to a coach, you find a coach that hasn't done that, then they won't be able to reach you where you are, because you can only meet someone else as deeply as you've met yourself. And what I'm feeling is that you haven't met yourself deeply to take yourself through what you're facing at the moment and what you're missing, which isn't something which makes you incomplete, but the piece that you're missing, the piece that you're looking for, is this depth of absolutely meeting yourself and going in. And when you say you don't know how to do it, you can, coaching is really, really helpful tool to help you do that, to help you see yourself, to help you meet yourself. But ultimately, it's in the stillness and in the sitting with yourself and in the what you're running from, which is where you're going to find the answers. They're within you. But I would also suggest that reaching out and getting some support with that is a really good idea, because some of what you find and some of what can come up can be really, really tricky to navigate.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just quickly before we move on, I've just showed the cards that I picked for you. So I picked this card came up for you, this archetype card. So it's like the knight. It can mean so many different things, actually. When I first picked it up, I thought it reminded me of the challenge that I did, Discover Your Unique Spiritual Purpose, and a spiritual story that I told about Parsible, who wore his mother knitted a coat of armor for him. And to protect her son, she said, don't ever take this off. Don't ever show yourself to people. Don't ever bear your vulnerabilities. You must keep yourself safe. Don't do this. Don't give your heart away. Don't fall in love. Don't blah, blah. And what she did was she held him back. So it made me think, what limiting beliefs maybe are you carrying from mother, father? That could be there. But also, when I first picked it up to talk to you, I thought, are you presenting yourself as the knight in shining armor? Do you know what I mean? Have you got that savior complex? I'm the knight in shining armor, but who looks after the knight? Well, I also got the card of abundance as well. So as you say, you've got it all. You know, you're successful. You're obviously very well loved. You're able to give love. So you seem like you've got it all. But what I would just say quickly is, when we still feel there's something missing, it can be, as you say, you've not fully tapped into your true potential, right? And it's normally the thing that is staring us in the face. And if it is that, I don't know that it is, but if it is that, your experiences and your story is your potential. Single mom, all of the challenges that you've faced, whatever you've been through, the worst, darkest moments, it could be that you help single mums, it could be that you help children, it could be what, you know, you've got to figure that out. But I always think, God, if there was ever a catastrophe that struck the world, God forbid, and we were all designated roles, what role would you volunteer for? Because that's normally what your natural abilities will go to that. So that's something to think about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I hope that helps in some way.
Yeah, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Right. Who would like to go next?
Wow. Hey there, can I jump in, please?
Certainly can.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I want to say thank you so much to everybody for sharing your stories. It's so helpful.
Yeah,
it's really helpful.
It is. Thank you, Judy. That was brilliant.
So my situation is, I jumped on the call yesterday. I wasn't feeling very well. I popped a message into the chat, so some of you may have seen that yesterday. It's really resonating with me what you've just said there to Judy about the whole, what would you do if, you know, there was disaster in the world? What would your role be? A giver. So I've been a teacher for 20 years. I've been dealing with an awful lot of my own childhood trauma with very limited support. I'm at a stage now where I feel like I have so much more to give, but it's drained me so much. I almost don't want to, because I feel like I need to give that back to myself. I don't know if anybody resonates at all there.
100%.
Yeah. So I'm at a real crossroads. I've had a business which I sold a couple of years ago. I've had a couple of years of working in consultancy type roles, a bit of work abroad, not really settling into any particular thing. Started yoga teacher training, started your life coaching course last year. Nothing's really settling with me. I feel like I'm almost grasping onto things as part of my healing still. But in the meantime, still needing to pay the bills, still needing to function. And yeah, just really exhausted. It just really exhausted. And I could easily go and get working with young people, because that is definitely my gift and it's something that I get a lot from. But I feel like I need to give that to myself. So I don't know whether it resonates with anybody about how to put yourself first, but also still use what you have to make a living.
Yeah, it does resonate so much. And you know what? It's so good. Have you experienced burnout, did you say?
Yes, I think I probably did about 10 years ago. Yeah, so I left the classroom about 8 years ago, and then have been running a business, working from home. But in amongst that time was quite ill with pneumonia. I just noticed someone's put about chronic fatigue syndrome. I also had that quite badly for a couple of years, which I manage now, but I'm very much at the point now where I am really struggling with living alone, working alone, in an industry that it's really difficult to, I mean, you feel like you make a difference, but it's actually quite difficult to make any kind of decent living working in education. So I feel I've done a lot of work the last couple of months around regrets and around letting go of if I'd have taken a different path. I'm fortunate that I do have support around me in terms of friends and professionals that I can access, but family support is pretty much non-existent. And I think people can't see from the outside like why I can't sort of just get up and carry on. At the moment, I just feel like hibernating, whilst also applying for really exciting jobs abroad and lots of exciting stuff. But yeah, I just feel a bit lost. I think a few people have mentioned that the last few days.
Yeah, just let me tune into that, sir. Have your childhood experiences been a lot around shame and criticism, humiliation? Okay, you know that leads to perfectionism.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you know that leads to not knowing whenever it's okay to stop.
Yeah, total people pleaser. Totally went into a fawning trauma response age 9. Have only really unpicked that the last few years, and setting boundaries has been really, really difficult for me.
This is the problem, boundaries.
Yeah.
100%. Have you had counseling, psychotherapy, CBT, anything still with that? Yeah.
Yeah, I've had an awful lot of intervention that's been sort of self-referred, so to speak. I think because I present as very capable until I actually ask for help, which I found really difficult to do. I don't access it. So I'm about to start a new a 3-month therapy. And again, there's a trigger warning here around suicide. So my father took his own life when I was 9. It just was never talked about. I mean, it was,
Wow. Gosh.
yeah,
A lot.
it's been quite tricky.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That is a lot.
So yeah, I'm just working through a lot.
I hear you. And we're all here for you.
Thank you.
In whatever capacity we can be.
Thank you. I do have the support. It's just more on the professional level and the actually paying my bills level.
Yeah.
Where I'm at that point where I'm like, I really want to do something that is fulfilling to me. And I don't almost feel like working in an industry that's taken so much from me is just not going to be conducive.
Yeah.
And yeah.
There is something around there's two parts to this, I feel, potentially. There's something around giving yourself permission to do the thing that you love, and know that that's okay, because it might not live up to your expectations. Do you suffer with OCD at all?
It's interesting you say that. I wouldn't say necessarily no. I've been looking at that quite a lot the last couple of months. No, I think it's just an inherent feeling of just really not feeling supported or understood. And it's interesting because when I attend things like this, I feel more understood than I have done, my whole life pretty much.
Yeah, that's because you're with a bunch of healers who we only enter into this role because we've been wounded. And when we heal, we're actually healing our own wounds. So, you're stepping into that role as well. I think some of it is kind of giving yourself permission to be able to do the work you love and get paid for it. And then also being able to detach getting paid for a job and being and actually giving your all to it as well, because sometimes we just need to see work as work. I go to get paid, but there might be a part of you that feels like when you take a role on, you basically say, take my soul.
Yeah,
Here it
I
is.
do.
There's nothing left of you.
Yeah.
There's just one or two things I can say, and then I'll open it up to the panel. How much fun do you have in your life? How much body movement do you have? They are the easiest ways to start. Because do you suffer with aches and pains, stiffness, joints frozen a little bit?
Yeah, as I've got older, definitely. I think that's linked to having had pneumonia in various parts of my sort of back, chest, that sort of area. But through the yoga teacher training that I'm doing, I'm learning so much about the somatic movement, and
Yeah.
it's fascinating, and it is really helping me. And so
So
that movement of the energy is really
amazing.
vital. Yeah.
It's so vital, because you might notice, if you were to think about it, not right now, it might take some thought, but we all body armor. So Wilhelm Reich, I can't say his name, rubbish word pronunciations, but he did a book on body armoring. Psychotherapist, observed all his patients, and through our upbringing and childhood experiences, we all body armor in different ways based on what the experiences we received. So you might notice in times of stress wherein your body takes the hit, and that's where you will be body armoring. And there are places you can learn body armoring, and what you do is you press on the body point. But the best body armoring that I've ever experienced is free dance.
Yeah.
I hated it, because this was the card that I picked for you, and that's why I asked you about the childhood.
Oh, I can't quite see that. Hang on, let's have a look.
Can you see that?
Oh no, I can't. I'm on my phone at the moment, actually, so I can't see
It's
everything.
basically a child stood on a table with adults and other children, and they're all like pointing at her and laughing, and she's just hanging her head in shame. It could just be that she's told a joke or done a dance. Children can internalize shame, but it's just a symbolic thing that you've internalized all this criticism, all this shame, all this judgment, all this humiliation. So that will be armored in your body. And quite often people, because I know how that feels, not on your level, but I know how it feels to be like that. So my body was trapped, frozen. So for me to go and dance in a group was the worst thing that I could push myself to do. but actually doing it frees the body of a prison. So it could just be one thing that you go and do this week. Find a group, wherever, go and dance and feel the freedom that you're looking for, because freedom is everywhere. It's not just in the body, it's in the mind as well. And that's where I feel the freedom needs to happen, in the mind. Because another card I picked for you, might not be able to see it, is breakthrough.
Yeah.
So that is there for you. And this is a card of somebody like raising up, like stretching their body and lifting up and reaching out, really. So again, it's quite a somatic movement to do. So they're just my little tips. Thanks for sharing that. That was a really, really good. Thank you so much. I hope we helped in some way.
Yeah, no, you absolutely have. Thank you.
Okay, so panel. Emma,
Hi.
go for
Sorry.
you.
Sorry, okay.
And then we'll come back to you, Amanda.
So yeah, I straight away I got what you picked up, Anne-Marie, about the having fun, the permission, the kind of, I got really strange feelings in my arms. I don't know why. I don't know if that resonates with either of you, but I don't know. And then I saw the breakthrough then kind of with the lifting up. So I thought, I don't know, that just kind of resonated with me, because I don't know why I got with the arms feeling with you. I don't know if you get any pains in your arms. But yeah, definitely I can, not similar, but I came from a high kind of industry powered job that I did for a very long time, and I had to give myself permission, because I suffered with burnout because of it, and I had to give myself permission to put myself first. And I get this feeling with you that, you know, Anne-Marie mentioned perfectionism as well, and you mentioned people pleasing, and I feel like you need to look after yourself first and foremost before you can have that job where you find your purpose, where you do what you want to do and absolutely deserve those things, and you absolutely should be living in that way. That you just need to take some time for yourself, some self-compassion, some self-care, and just turn all that love and all that kind of giving that you give to other people, turn it back in on yourself. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting for you.
Thank you, Boone.
Yeah, that resonates. And I'm not in the situation at the moment to be able to just take time off and to heal. I think that's the hardest thing that's dawned on me, is that I haven't really ever taken any time off to actually sit by myself, with myself, and work through stuff. I've always kept working because I've had to. So yeah.
I still worked, but I did something different. So I stepped away from where I was, the place that I felt was making me ill. It wasn't, it was me, because I was allowing my boundaries to be crossed constantly, and taking that accountability and ownership for that much later on down the line really helped me, because I couldn't see it and I couldn't do it at the time. But just a different environment helped me to be able to then have that time for introspection, to turn in on myself, because I was so blinkered, I couldn't see anything. I just kept going down that same tunnel, that same pathway that just wasn't helping me at all. And I completely get, in an idealistic world, it would be lovely if we could all just take 6 months off and, you know, and have that time, you know, but unfortunately not many of us are in that situation to be able to do that. But if there is any way, even if it is just like Anne-Marie suggested, like a hobby or something, you know, finding that circle of women or something, that a place that you can go that you feel able to then have that time for introspection, to, yeah, I just feel like you really do need that time for yourself, that self-care, that self-compassion.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. That's really useful and helpful. I think I've had so much time by myself over the last 20, 30, 34 years ago. This happened. It's like I'm almost fed up of myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that, and I feel the groups and the connecting.
The tribe of ladies or something, somebody, yeah.
I've really started to do it, because I can be a hermit and I can get lonely, actually, and feel like it's all about work. And you know, I'm a bit of an introvert, extrovert. Is that the right way to say it? I seem really confident, but actually I'm quite not, you know. So for me to go and be with groups and to talk, I hate it. But it isolates me. So I've recently started to do it. Been going on these networking things. I started salsa dancing classes and just did all different things just to like say, come on, I know where I am. I know where I'm in a rut. No one's coming knocking on my window saying, come on, get your glad rags on, I'm taking you out. That's not happening. So you have to go. You have to. So think about a situation, Emily, where you are working, potentially not with a soul-filled job, but you're getting paid and you don't have that financial stress, which is just a awful, horrible feeling. That's taken care of. But on the outside world, you actually have a group, a couple of different groups. Life is full, life is more fun, life is variety. You know, think about the difference that would make, because I'm wondering how much emphasis you're putting on the work. And, you know, the train of thought is like, "Ah, it's going to kill me doing this job that I hate, but I'm going to have to do it anyway." But there's no flip side, there's no balance to that. There's no, well, I've got to do this thing, but at least I've got that. So it's all unbalanced. So if you can find a way to have a better environment, it could just ease the burden of having to do that job that, you know, but at least that job fulfills a need at the moment.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Amanda?
Just really quickly, what came up for me, Emily, was and it made me really emotional. You have a depth of courage that I don't know if you are aware of, and it's really humbling, and hit me really hard, just how courageous you are, and the experiences that are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's just so difficult
No, I
to have
understand.
that courage. Yeah.
I hear you, but I see your courage and I feel your courage. And I know I'm coming from a place of someone who I haven't experienced what you've experienced. I've experienced what I've experienced, but there are huge similarities in our journeys. And what came up for me was, do you know about chakras?
Yeah.
Yeah. So root chakra is really coming up for me in terms of safety and in terms of you being safe in your body.
Yeah.
What came up for me was just there's a really simple affirmation which has really helped me, which is I am safe, I am secure, I'm at home in my body, I'm at peace with the here and now. Because what's coming up for me is, obviously you've been through some incredibly difficult traumatic experiences, and the imprint of that is carried with you, and I absolutely appreciate that. And it's the here and now, which is your body is in the moment, your body is always in the present. And just wondering if doing some work with your root chakra, maybe finding an EFT practitioner if you've got one that you can have recommended to you in your area. EFT might be really helpful, but it's root chakra is what's coming up for me, and just this absolute depth of courage. There is nothing missing from who you are. There is nothing wrong with who you are. There is nothing wrong with you, and it's just about you connecting with yourself and finding safety within yourself is what I feel.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. The root chakra is definitely something I'll be looking into working with, definitely.
I appreciate your courage and sharing your story. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
I'm just going to leave you with this, Emily. So I pulled a final card for you and it says control. And I'll read what it says. So it's about being the master, influence, accept, compassion, patience, confidence. In order to flourish, relationships must be fluid and free rather than overly rigid and controlled by emotional neediness or insecurity. It's important to master your emotions so they do not rule the relationship or you. A partnership based solely on emotion is out of balance and out of control, which I do feel is slightly happening at the moment. Self-control is the key here. Act from a combination of emotion and intellect, and your relationship will thrive and grow. Be sure that your influence is gentle and loving. This is not the time for domination. This card asks you to accept another person's unique needs and to not require that person to conform to or mold of your choosing just to make you feel more comfortable. This card serves as a reminder to come from compassion and understanding rather than anger and frustration. Now is the time for patience, steadiness, and clear thinking. Apply these qualities to your relationship with others and with yourself if you're involved in a difficult situation. The affirmation is, I control my emotions and embrace peace. And I know this is an important message for you to hear because it's associated with the tarot archetype card of strength. And I actually pulled that for you before, which is why I'm focused on reading the card meaning to you. So try and take on board what that means, everything we've discussed about what you've been through, how it's affected you, and the way that you're making your decisions. Are they with intellect or emotion? And how can we separate the two? Does that help?
Yeah, that really, really helps. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. I really appreciate you holding the space today for me, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, anybody else?
Can I just jump on?
Yes.
Hi everybody. Listening to everybody else's stories, it's just amazing, and it makes me feel like I don't feel like I'm worthy to be here to a certain degree. I'll just tell you a little bit about my background. I've worked on the ambulance service for 18 years. I had to leave due to a trauma that I suffered. And I love my job, so it was sort of forced. It was a forced decision. So I think it makes it harder when somebody actually makes that decision for you. So yeah, I've been sort of stumbling through different jobs, trying to find my way. I'd already done some courses prior, whilst on the ambulance service, as a holistic massager, Reiki, reflexology, crystal healing, but I've never really delved and done anything with it. I've done it, but just done it through family and things like that. But I just don't know. I feel lost. I don't know where to go. I've not found my purpose. I know I have got a purpose, but I don't think I've found it now since leaving the ambulance service. It feels like it was just torn away from me, and I just don't know what to do. I have started your meditation course, so I'm halfway through that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know. I'm just
Yeah. It could be that you're in a bit of a grieving phase with it. You're going through all the levels of grief. You know, and there are like different levels that we get to, like one of them's anger, one of them's pleading, you know, that kind of thing. So how long ago was it?
What that I left the ambulance service was 2000 and end of 2019.
Okay. Yeah, and you've not felt the same since?
No, I've gone through a few jobs. I've had one. I worked in the hospital. I took another job on a ward in the hospital. Then I took another job to be close to my mum because I wasn't getting to see my mum every day. And then 3 weeks into taking that role, my mum sadly died quite sudden. She was found dead. So then I felt sorry, I'm getting upset. I sort of then I packed that job in because I couldn't cope. So I took 6 months out, and then I took another job. So I've sort of been toing and froing with things, trying to, sorry.
Don't apologize. You've been through a lot. So it's not just the job, you know, it's then the kind of the accumulation of life that's happened to that as well, which is like compacting you It's not just one thing, it's more than that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what is it you feel, if you could name an emotion, like what is it you feel like you're missing at the moment, or you're out of balance?
I feel, because I am working at the moment, but I feel that I'm not fulfilled. I'm not getting out my job what I want to get out my job. I don't feel happy. So I think if you're in a job where you're not happy, you're at work a long time to
Do
not
you
be
know what
happy.
the emotion is that you're not getting, or the value that it's not?
I feel I'm not valued by my employer. There's been a lot of changes over the last 3-4 months, and I feel that, yeah, I'm not valued, and there's been a lot of changes, and they're not taking my views into account, which then impacts my patients, because I'm still in the health service, so it impacts the patients, and then I just feel bad for the patients. Then it's like I'm burdening so I don't know if it's guilt that I can't do certain things what I want to do with the patients.
Yeah. Okay, so you're not feeling valued. Yeah, I get that. Like, and what else do you think is because the thing is, like, we all have some top values, right? And if they're not being met, then we'll be like that inside, like, "Oh, something's off, something's off, something's off." And if you did a values exercise, which you can grab from the internet somewhere, it might even be in the meditation. I can't think now if it is or not, but it will give you a list of values: loyalty, compassion, fun, adventure, trust, all different things. And you pick out like your top 10, then whittle it down to your top 5, and then even your top 3. And you can say, that's not being met. And it could be that appreciation, appreciation is one of your top values. You want to feel appreciated, you like to appreciate other people, you like to feel, it could be something like that. But if it's not being met, and you've got no other way of living it out or whatever, it's just being blocked, then you will feel that, and it will feel really gritty inside. Is there anything else that you feel might be a value that you're not getting met at the moment?
I don't know. There's all sorts, I suppose, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. And it's an exercise that you can do. Hang on, I've got some values quotes. One sec. If I can find them, I'll try and pull one for you. This might work, it might not work, I don't know. Just just see how it goes. I'll just intuitively pull it for you. Inner strength is what I pulled. So do you feel like that is your strength is being pulled down?
Yeah, possibly, yeah, because I can't deliver what I know I'm capable of delivering.
Okay. There was
I'm being stifled.
I did pull a tarot card as well, and it was the Justice card. And I thought, I wonder if this lady needs to work in some, like, the judicial system or the police or something like that. Also, but it can also mean relationships and fairness as well. So it could be that you have a real strong value of fairness, and it's being squashed at the moment. But I mean, if this resonates with you, if it doesn't, it's totally fine. But think about the ways potentially that you're not meeting that value yourself, or other ways where you could be expressing, because one experience can impact us in so many different areas of our life if we let it. You know, you could have a shit day at work. There could be somebody there who's really pissing you off, bullying you, and you don't just leave that at the door. You bring that home into family life. So think about how it might be filtering out into other areas and ways that you can actually strengthen it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if that one doesn't resonate with you, think about just think about the values that I said. Go and find an exercise on YouTube or Google, and you'll see what I mean. And let me know what you feel it is as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw it over to the panel if you've got anything to add.
Hiya.
Hi.
I was just going to ask you about the idea of control, because it feels like from the things that you've said, they're really, really significant circumstances which you've experienced, both of which you had no control over. So your mum's passing, and you use the words, I believe, being forced to leave your job. It wasn't your choice.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like for me, what's playing out is that it feels as if you have little control over your life, and it feels like things are happening to you rather than you kind of taking any sense of control. And it's a very fine line, because we walk a tightrope between having control over ourselves and being open, obviously, to the universe and what happens in our lives. But the sense I'm getting is that there's a need within you to regain some sense of control, and to also process the experiences that you've had in terms of them taking away your control. And that, for me, lies in perfect harmony with the justice card, because it feels like these things aren't fair. They weren't fair because they were taken out of your hands, and they were two incredibly important things to you, which happened, and which were kind of, it feels like almost the rug was pulled out from beneath you in both of those situations, and probably in other situations as well. So for me, it feels like there's a need to process that sense of injustice and that sense of fairness, and then to find ways in which you can empower yourself by taking some control in the areas of your life that you have control over. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Hi, Caroline. I've not really got too much to add. I'm ex-NHS as well, so I understand, and I think Anne-Marie hit the nail on the head before as soon as she mentioned grief. And I feel like you do need to go through that grieving process, obviously for two different circumstances. But we always just seem to think about grief as being the loss of somebody, but it can be the loss of a circumstance, a situation. And I feel like you do need to grieve leaving that 18-year career that you did have, and what that means for you. And it kind of ties hand in hand with both what Amanda and Anne-Marie both said about taking the control back and understanding that. And but yeah, I would just say honor that and allow yourself that time to process that grief.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a big shedding of identity, isn't it? Like, who am I without that role? But you've quite clearly said that you're a giving person. You like to be in that role, so it could be that that's what's lacking. So this is the final card I picked for you, which is an archetype card. So this is the wise woman. You know, this is the wise kind of elder, actually, who is standing in her light, standing in her power, and she's offering out a loving, giving, healing hand. I feel that potentially that's what is lacking, that your desire actually is to give and to heal. And because you're not doing that now, because you feel like that was taken away, for you actually not to be able to produce and give that energy, and also it's being blocked as well, because you're wanting to give that energy in whatever way that takes form in your role, and it's being stifled and you're being held back. So imagine if if this card were depicted as you right now, how you feel, the wise sage who's here to give, when actually your hands are tied. Do you know what I mean? That's how it kind of feels. So it's a case of reassessing your life based on who you know yourself to be and what you need to be in the world, to feel the sense of satisfaction and fulfillment and completion, and just to reassess things at some point, saying do that now, but just to think, okay, this is my life, it's based on the choices I make. If I'm not in the right position here, what can I do about it? Because I have to fill this need, whatever that is.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Okay, we'll take one more if anybody wants to hop on. But everybody's terrified.
Hi, sorry, can I just
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I think mine was like a few years ago. I think I met like a catalyst that triggered my spiritual awakening. All my traumas all came to surface. So I'm working my way through that, and I'm finding like my path is to become a life coach or like a health and wellness coach. But I'm finding it hard to I've got lack of commitment. So I sign up to loads of courses, and I'm just finding it hard to commit to anything. I don't know if it's because it's fear or just being scared.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, the words that you use to talk about that, because I wouldn't necessarily associate the two, learning with fear. But why do you associate those? Why have you made that association, do you think?
I think because I was training to be an accountant for like 20 years and I kept failing my exams. So I think it might be to do with, scared of failure or rejection.
I understand that. So apart from the accountancy, what achievements have you had?
I've got my ideal job now. So I work for the NHS as management accountant, and I've got opening up doors for coaching.
Amazing.
So yeah, and I've done singing in choir. So because I've always been quite shy, and I never had a voice when I was younger, and I was the forgotten one. So now, I've sung in the choir and on stage, and I have just signed up to go back into theatre, a little theatre group.
Oh, amazing. Emily, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah. So would you consider yourself on the whole a successful person?
I think I am, yeah. But something's stopping me. So.
Really?
Yeah, I think I don't know, because I always keep saying when I do have coaching, I say I'm not confident. And I'm just like,
yeah.
Really? But I'm just like, yeah.
I don't think there's anything stopping you. You know what? I don't think there's anything that could stop you if you put your mind to something.
Yeah. I think as well as I've lost both my parents when they were quite young. And I think I've always wanted to prove to them, because I was a forgotten one, that I can be successful and I can do it on my own. Even though they're not around, I still feel like that's what I'm trying to do, to prove myself to people.
I get that, and I hear you, but you're actually trying to achieve the impossible.
Yeah.
Like, how will you ever know? You know.
Yeah, you don't. I've always felt like I was valid or asking for validation, and I felt like I was a burden. So when I asked for something, I always feel, I hated asking for things.
So it's an interesting point, because, I do think about this as well. Quite often when we've been through these traumatic childhoods, right, we live a life that is, with a perpetual child. Even though, we're in a 50 whatever body, we're still the perpetual child, waiting for approval, waiting for the parent to tell us that you did a good job, that I'm proud of you, that I love you, and all of this, and you're a good person. But, you know, we can live our lives chasing that validation when actually it's just a false perception that we have of ourselves, because either, you know, we have to live with the fact that we didn't get it and we're never going to get it. So who is actually responsible for our lives and how we feel in it? Because that parent isn't telling us we're doing a shit job now. Well, you know, maybe they are, but, you know, this can be true. But at the end of the day, we're not a child. We're not helpless anymore. We're more aware of what goes on inside us when we do receive a criticism or a judgment or an opinion or a, you know, a sleight of hand or whatever. You know, we're, as adults, we're aware of our triggers, and that's the only place of power that we have. It's over our choice and our behavior. So think about what you're choosing and how you're behaving, and if it is actually in alignment to what you really want, because you might not really want to do life coaching. You just said you've got the dream job. I know you said doors are opening up. So I'm not telling you what to think, but I'm just inviting you to think about what do you really want? Because you have to pay the price for that.
Yeah. I do enjoy coaching, and I do find, it does help. And I do enjoy talking to people and, like, reaching their goals and achieving.
So just as you did with the choir, because that must have took a lot of strength to go from being the one that's overlooked to the one that sings in a choir. That must have taken a lot of courage and tenacity and bravery. So you have all those attributes in abundance. So you don't need to gather them from anywhere. You don't need to go and learn the skill and practice it and then apply it. You've got it. So really think about what is actually holding you back, because I feel nothing can stop you when you put your mind to it. So you just got to think, what is this really about? I'm not asking you to say that's what it is now, but just ask yourself in your reflective time.
Okay, thank you.
I'll throw it over to the panel.
Yeah, again, I've not got much to add, but I would just say when these things come up for you, always just question, is that true? Because, you know, we can end up telling ourselves and writing a story that actually isn't true because it might fit an old narrative. So yeah, always just ask yourself, is it true what you're thinking and feeling at that time? Is there evidence to support that, or is there evidence to the contrary? Which is then going to perhaps help you in a more serving way, help you move forward in a more positive way. So that was one thing. And then the other thing that came up for me was, again, Anne-Marie kind of touched on it as well, was about self-acceptance and not looking at the external for that validation. And just really accepting yourself and appreciating yourself and loving yourself. And using that to take you forward as well.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I find it hard to be, like, vulnerable as well, and, like, in relationships, and, like, open up, because people have, like, left, and, like, when I got close to them. So,
and again, just like, well, as Marie said, not for now, but in those reflective kind of moments, and just really lean into that and look into that. And that may, and I'm sure has happened, but is that always true? You know, and then just use that to help you to bring yourself round and just that more introspective.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Emma.
Hiya.
Hi.
For me, and I can't add very much to what's already been said. I think what's already been said is absolutely on point. But the only thing that was slightly different or deeper for me was the inner child work. I don't know if you've done much inner child work, but it feels to me like the most helpful thing that you can do is to learn to reparent yourself, so you can be the parent to yourself that you needed when you were a child. Because when you were speaking, you said the forgotten one or the forgotten child several times, and it feels like you're wearing that as an identity. Maybe not all the time, but maybe it's an identity that you pick up and you put down. And like the other two have said, sometimes the narrative that we write based on our past, we outgrow, but we can still carry that with us. And it feels like a costume or a hat or a mask that you pick up and put down sometimes when it suits the situation. Sometimes it can feel like it's true, and it can feel like it's still true, but you can, and you have done so much in your life to ensure that you're not the forgotten one. I just feel like the language that you're using is really important, and that may have been how you felt as a child, but maybe look into doing some reparenting work with your inner child to give your inner child what she needed, because she's still within you. And those needs, when they weren't met, those needs are then carried through to adulthood, and they can play out in our circumstances. So I would just say, be careful about the language that you use about yourself, the way you speak about yourself, and maybe look at putting down that old narrative of being the forgotten one, and look at maybe doing some reparenting work with your inner child.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I find that with like friends as well, that I always have to reach out and they don't message me. So I don't know.
Yes, I would explore that with somebody, definitely a therapist who could help you look at attachment styles. Because the archetype card I pulled there was, depicting that, so you can change your language. You can say things like, they thought I was the forgotten one, haha. I thought, look at me now, I fooled them. Joke's on you, that kind of thing. Can I ask as well, how do people perceive you, do you think? Are you always kind of trying to come across as very jolly, very kind of open? I'm here for you no matter what. The days are always sunny, that kind of bubbly atmosphere.
Yeah, because I've done like my strengths, and one of them, the first one was honesty, the second one was humour. I always like joke around, and everyone comes to me like work and thinks I always help everyone out, rather than
So would it be true that potentially you don't have clear boundaries with people? And
yeah, I'm always been a people pleaser, always like said yes, I do that, or yes, I go out. But I am trying to set boundaries now and just be more.
Only because the reason I'm kind of probing you on that one is because I asked to see what archetype you can step into. I thought, oh, that's an interesting card. Don't really want to give her that. But the more I looked at it, okay, so the forgotten children, right? We've never been asked, what do you need? How are you feeling today? What makes you happy? Does that make you sad? Okay, let's make life better for you. The forgotten one gets left. They end up having to take care of their own needs, and they'll do anything to get their needs met, right? A lot of us will resonate with that. So why this card? Well, this man has drawn a firm line in the sand. So for me, that's putting a boundary down. And yeah, he might look like a bit of a grump, but at least he's being honest. At least he's actually saying how he feels, and actually look at where he is. He's like in the sand. He's in probably a nice spot. Yeah, there's a dark cloud like behind him, but he's got bare feet in the sand. That's quite relaxing. That's like downtime. So this is a card of like actually showing a side of you that you probably don't want to accept, and feel like if I do show that, I won't be accepted. So there's just the inner work, as Amanda said. And I would definitely recommend finding a therapist that works with attachment styles, because your attachment style, because you've mentioned relationships, attachment style, your attachment style, because we want to be in a secure attachment.
Yeah.
But if with childhoods that, you know, so many of us experience, we don't know how to self-soothe. So our attachment styles with people, with things, we can be anxious, we can be avoidant, all of that. It's easily worked through with the right therapist. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I think we will to end it there. It's 22. Yeah, so thanks so much for today, everybody. I hope you've all enjoyed it. That was a really, really intense session. I love that. Everybody okay? Everybody who's spoken, are you all okay? You're in a good place for us to leave you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. If you do need anything, if you need any extra support, just reach out, okay?
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Lots of love, everybody, and I'll see some of you back for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Care. Bye, everyone. Look after yourselves.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.